Vewn is an artist I've been following since her early days on YouTube and Tumblr. I absolutely adore Vewn's art style and have always derived some sort of comfort while watching her videos, especially at like 2 a.m. when my brain refuses to go to sleep for some reason. Now, I don't want to claim I know a whole lot about art. I just do doodles on the side on my iPad. So I wanted to come at this video as a fan of Vewn and what I personally think drew me into watching her videos. You can tell me in the comments what drew you into Vewn's art. I love to hear it. A signature of Vewn's art is her use of an almost warped perspective. The best way I can describe it is if you ever seen those drawings of someone looking through a fisheye lens, that's what Vewn's art feels like to me. And perspective can be one of the hardest things to master in terms of art and getting things to look right as well as looking intentional. Not to mention the way she draws perspective only further elevates the already chaotic and whimsical nature of her art. And a lot of Vewn's worlds have a distorted aspect to them within the story as well. When it comes to Vewn's art, it may intrigue you at first and get you to click on a video, but it's the story that keeps you invested. I love how real Vewn's stories feel. Her characters have a vulnerability and even sometimes awkwardness to them that you just can't help but relate to.
And of course, instead of capitalizing on this moment of existential wonder by going home to write some dense essay with a lot of big words in it about how insane so many people exist in the world, and I just have my own little small experience. Instead of doing that, I had a panic attack.
Vewn tends to keep her dialogue very minimal most of the time. Sometimes there's no spoken dialogue at all. Instead, she'll let the combination of facial expressions, sound effects, and music and overall atmosphere speak for itself.
We got another monkey down. Over. Copy.
There's always a cohesiveness with her art, not a frame feels out of place. And Vewn does an excellent job of turning the mundane in our life into pieces of art. From getting absorbed into a game so much that it almost consumes you and becomes your life, until you finally take a step back and just breathe. Realize you don't have to plant all those flowers, okay? To leaving home on your own and finding a place and a job, only to realize that the adulting life may just not be for you. To getting ready for school and only wanting to return to the solitude and comfort that is sleeping in your bed. Or how it feels to learn a forbidden knowledge, knowing you will never be able to return to who you were before. And the list could honestly just keep going on and on and on. Vewn perfectly encapsulates that kids' horror aesthetic. Because a lot of people are drawn to art that makes us think of our childhood with the myriad of bright colors paired with a chaotic imagination. We've seen it within the gaming sphere with games like Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Little Nightmares, Limbo, and Poppy's Playtime. I think similar to FNAF, Vewn's art didn't intentionally try to appeal to that genre, but people crave horror that is thought-provoking enough to where you can theorize on the meanings behind what you see. It's why there's so many theories on FNAF lore, and why Vewn's comment section is filled to the brim with people trying to dissect her every video. Vewn's art style is also reminiscent of the 90s cartoons, especially shows originating from the likes of Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Oops, hit the mic. From the boiling line effect, sometimes called squiggly vision, that we see in the likes of Ed, Edd and Eddy in home movies, allowing for the animation to have a personality of its own. It gave off a chaotic vibe while making the characters feel more alive, especially in moments of silence. It also keeps the attention of children who are always fidgeting around and unable to sit still, much like the animation itself. In terms of storyline, I wanted to look at the show Courage the Cowardly Dog, because we as the audience see things through the eyes of Courage, a dog. Similarly, that word's so hard. Similarly, vewn tends to use cats as a medium to tell her stories through. And we'll occasionally see other animals like bunnies, dogs, and monkeys. But the thing with animals is that they leave more room to exaggerate their expressions. And as long as the key features are present, you can still recognize an animal at a glance, even in the most simplistic of art styles. I think both Courage and vewn demonstrate horror, dread, and are beautifully dark in tone, but they also show compassion, subtle jokes, and are very heartfelt, and do a good job of showing, not telling. In Courage the Cowardly Dog, I remember one episode in particular that really just struck a chord with me, called The Tower of Dr. Zalos. However you say his name. It features a mad scientist who is quite depressed and miserable, and as a result decides if he can't be happy, nobody can, and develops this depression cannonballs that turns everyone just like him. And throughout the show, we're reminded of Muriel's happy plums, that according to her will make anyone happy. And in the end, the happy plums are used to reverse the effect of the cannonballs and turn everyone happy again. But when the scientist's assistant, Rat, I think its name's actually Rat, ends up eating the happy plums, it doesn't immediately become happy. Instead, it turns into an infant and starts to cry. I think that Rat had gone so long suppressing its emotions and feelings and just feeling emotionally numb that it needed to cry in order to feel happiness. And something about that just really just made me feel like I opened my third eye or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? I was just like, whoa. I believe those are the best type of stories where things can be left open-ended. Like, the show didn't tell me that's why the rat cried, but that's how I interpreted it. Maybe you saw that episode and thought differently of why the rat cried. But what I'm trying to say is that that's why I love vewn's videos, because they're so open-ended. Sure, each video may be exploring certain themes, but overall the interpretation is still left up to the audience at the end of the day. I'm so happy I got this video done. I've been wanting to do this video for weeks now, okay? But I had such a hard time encapsulating all my thoughts about her art in a concise and clear enough way that wouldn't just sound like I'm rambling and just fangirling the entire time. You know what I mean? So, I'm just so excited. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Thorn, and I'll catch you guys on the flippity flop side. I'll catch you guys later. Okay, bye. Did I even say bye? It sounded so silent. Bye. That one sounded silent. Okay, bye. There we go.